Hi everyone, Matt here. I hope you're all well. I just wanted to come online and express some of my thoughts and feelings around everything that's been going on in the media with the Olympics and the boxing and Imane Khelif, because she has suffered a tremendous amount of completely unjustified abuse with people saying that this is a man when she's not. But for me, why has this happened? You know, where has it all come from? It's basically come from transphobia. So, for example, I've seen at least one person post an apology saying, you know, I'm so sorry, I got this wrong, this isn't a man, you know, I shouldn't have said those things, which is amazing. You know, thank you so much for apologizing. But the way they've said that is basically saying, but if it had been a trans person, everything I said would have been justified, when it wouldn't have. And I find it really, it makes me sad that in this day and age, this is still going on. So I just wanted to explain a few things. So I am a trans man. I was born physically female and I've transitioned to male about just over 10 years ago now. And I have passed 100% for just over 10 years. Since January 2014, not one person that's met me has ever gendered me female. So I know I pass. But what I find quite fascinating is that when I meet people, I don't always tell them that I'm trans because I don't need to, and I just like being Matt sometimes. But I have, you know, on occasions decided for whatever reason to tell someone. And inevitably the response I get is, I would never have known. Now, I think they mean that as a compliment, and they're sort of trying to persuade me as if I don't know that. But why have they said that? You know, if you meet me and, you know, you discover my name and I say, hi, I'm Matt, you don't go, oh wow, I would never have known, you know, that you were called Matt, because it's a given. We know that. We don't need to say that. So why do they say it about trans people when they discover they've transitioned? It's basically because they assume that they would always know. And, you know, you don't. The majority of trans people pass very well, both trans men and trans women. But what does that show you? It tells you that all these people that have those thoughts, you know, oh wow, you know, they're surprised that they wouldn't have known. They basically just don't know what hormones do, and, you know, they don't understand what transition is. So again, just to give you a little bit more information, here is a comparison picture of me. And I'm showing this because I say a lot of people just do not understand exactly what hormones do. So on the left, that is me pre-transition, and on the right, I'd say probably about 1.5 years, 2 years into my transition. And I was a really sporty child. I competed nationally in judo, and I would go to the gym and try and work out. But you can see on the left, that just wasn't going to happen. And on the right, that's not anabolic steroids or any abuse of any substance. That is just male level testosterone going through my system. Yeah, I go to the gym, but it's not possible without the testosterone. And, you know, look at the difference. Look at like the muscle mass on my back, my neck, the shape of my back, even the back of my head change shape. It's incredible. And if you're a trans woman, the opposite happens. So when you take estrogen, you will lose that muscle mass. And, you know, so you get weaker, and then their fat will redistribute and they'll become more feminine and more curvy, etc. And so this is what people don't understand. They think, oh, but this is a man competing as a woman, you know, with the women. And it's not. It's a trans woman. They are women, and when they've been on estrogen for, you know, a certain amount of time, I think it's 2 years to be able to compete continuously on hormone treatment, then, you know, they've lost that strength, which actually it puts them at a disadvantage. So for example, you know, there's also been a lot going on with the swimmer Leah Thomas, and she's now been banned from competitions, and it's so unfair because people are looking at her frame and her torso, and yeah, you can see that her shoulders, you know, look slightly more masculine, but what that looks like an advantage, but actually it's not. So all these changes that a trans woman goes through when they go through a male puberty are actually hindering them, and it's been proven. So, you know, when you think about it, they've now got a bigger frame, so a heavier skeleton, etc. They've probably got bigger lungs, a bigger heart, and yet that system on estrogen, which is the bit you can't see, has now gained, has lost power. So that's like having a big coach and thinking, oh, that's a big coach, but putting the engine of a little 50cc bike in it or something. So trans women are actually underpowered for the size of their torso. So those changes that we look at and go, oh, that looks like a masculine thing, that's going to give them advantage, is actually a disadvantage. But people just don't realize that, and they don't realize how much strength they'll lose by taking estrogen, or how much muscle I would gain. So another example, I literally recently came out to someone that I've known for about 5 months, and again I got the "I would never have known" comment. I actually showed him my transition pictures to show the difference, because I think it's important that people do understand what hormones do. And so he'd seen the difference, and I'd explained, what I've just explained to all of you. And then, I don't know, maybe it was a week later, we were discussing sport and stuff and the boxing. And again, he was saying, oh, but it's unfair because, these trans women shouldn't be competing, they're men, they shouldn't be competing with the women. He didn't quite word it like that, I can't remember, but he was basically saying he didn't think it was fair because they've got more strength. And I'm like, but remember that photo I showed you? And I explained that for trans women the opposite happens. But already he hadn't really quite computed that. And then it went even further, because he then starts, and he didn't have the vocabulary to vocalize this. So he was trying to say, if someone's transgendered from, and he didn't quite know, but basically means a trans man. So someone like myself that was born female and has transitioned to male. He was saying, but you wouldn't expect them to compete with the men. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm stood there thinking, look at me. Have you forgotten already? So I was shocked. I didn't sort of respond straight away. I waited a little while, and I was like, but I wouldn't compete with the women. And he sort of went, oh yeah, suppose not. So, why I've explained all that is because what I'm trying to say is that, I don't know what percentage of the people that I come out to say that, but it's high. It's in the 90s. Probably 99% of people that have come out to say they wouldn't have known. And when it comes to the sport debate, there's so much online and people saying, yeah, but I'm allowed an opinion. And it's like, yeah, but you're allowed an opinion, but it really needs to be an informed opinion. And if you don't know what gender transition is and what the actual physical implications are, then you can't have an opinion that will be fair or correct. And that is sadly the majority of the country. So anybody that would meet me, find out later that I was trans, and say, wow, I'd never have known, or not even say it, but just think it and be surprised by that, which, like I say, is the majority of people, it means that they don't know enough about this topic to actually have an informed opinion on this. And I've also seen someone else in martial arts who, I know quite well, say, I know about this, all these people are commenting on this, but boxing is a really dangerous sport and people can get hurt, so I'm qualified to talk about that because I know about martial arts, I know about this sport. And I'm thinking, yeah, but I know for a fact that you don't know about the gender side of things, which means you don't realize how it is actually fair. So yeah, I just wanted to get some of those thoughts out there, really, off my chest, if you like. But I'd also just really like to congratulate Imane Khelif, because not anything due to her genetics or anything like that, because we know that she has been beaten by cis women in the past, but on this particular occasion in the Olympics she got gold, which is amazing, so well done. And especially because at the elite level, it's really the margins are really, really fine, which actually is another thing to talk about, because when people go on and on about sport and the fairness, etc., with trans things, how many people compete at an elite level where actually, just playing with at school or, locally or whatever, the differences don't make that much difference. So we're only talking about the elite anyway, which is a few percent of the whole world. But at the level that she was competing at, to achieve that is difficult enough, but to be able to work through all the hate that she's had thrown at her, which must have been really difficult, that's an even bigger achievement. So I feel so ashamed really that the world can still throw that much hate at someone. So, you know, I am just really, really pleased that she's done that. So congratulations, and I hope that everything I have said made sense. And if you've got any questions, please do send them through, and I'll speak to you later. Take care. Bye bye.